Hey everybody, it's Martha. This is like take 4. Anyway, I am going to show how I did my file folder cover. I watched a couple of other people do it a while back, and I don't even remember who I watched. Or how they did it, to be honest. So when I made my last journal, which has sold, so I can't show it to you. If you're watching and you bought it, thank you so much. That was my first journal sale. I was winging it, and that's how I do a lot of things. I fly by the seat of my pants often. So, right off the bat, I'm going to apologize if my dogs bark. If you hear people in the background, that's golfers. Today's a gorgeous day in Virginia, and there's a lot of golfers out. Or it's my next door neighbors, none of which are quiet. All 3 of them can make a lot of noise. So I apologize in advance if any of them make noise and you hear it. Okay, so to move this along, I am going to cover this file folder with this piece of muslin. And then I'm going to put this over the top of that piece of muslin. And the reason I have to put this muslin underneath is because this is not big enough. I can only print 8.5 by 11 on my printer. And most of my journal covers have to be larger than 8.5 by 11. I should have thought about that when I bought a printer. But I hadn't made a whole lot of journals and hadn't printed anything out as far as journal covers for them yet. So there's that. I took a file folder. I cut it large enough for my signature. This is only going to be a 1 signature journal. For my signature to fit in with a little bit of space on the sides and a tiny bit of space at the top and the bottom. Just you know, 1/4 of an inch maybe. I scored the center. Even though there were already score lines in the file folder, you have to have a wider spine than just a single fold. I cut extra pieces of, now I can't find them because I've been throwing stuff all over the place, of file folder that I cut off. I took those extra pieces. One is going to go here on this side. This is the one that goes in the center to support the spine, to give extra support. And I also put score lines in that. I hope you can see them. And then there's another piece to go over here, which it has to be buried somewhere. Please let me find it. There it is. Yay. And that piece is going to go there. And I have to round the corners, but I'll do that. So I am going to glue those on and let those dry, and then we're going to get on to the ironing. I'll flip this over. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to use, I don't know if I'm going to sew around the edge of this or not yet. I have not decided that. So I'm just going to put a very light amount of glue on here because this is all going to be sandwiched between fabric and paper anyway. So, boy, this glue does not give you a lot of opportunity to move it around once you've put it down, which sometimes is good, sometimes it's not. So again, I'm just gonna, because I might sew on this, I haven't decided. I am just putting a very light, I don't want to be too heavy-handed with the glue. I don't want it to be too thick for my sewing needle to go through, if that's what I do decide to do. And again, it's going to be sandwiched down anyway. So let's see. That's going to be my inside. I need to, now this is all to support when I put holes in it to sew the signature in. That's what the center extra support is. And the side supports, it helps if you put them all on the correct side. The side supports are if I want to put an eyelet grommet kind of thing in there. And so the edges are more supported, and I like to do that. When I made my first one, now I'm not going to sew the center of this. Well, I am. I'm going to sew it by hand, but not by machine. So I'm going to make sure this is down pretty well, although I'm still not going to be heavy-handed with the glue. When I did my first one, I didn't think about the supports until after, so I had to find more other ways to cover, because I had already put the cover on the journal, on the file folder. And then I thought, oh, I should support the edges and the center. So then I had to cover those up. But I used paper, so it was okay, and it turned out fine. So I'm learning to think ahead and figure things out a little slower. So again, I had already rounded my corners, and so I'm going to use my corner rounder. This is a large corner rounder, which I really like the way it looks, especially on covers and outside things. Yeah, sure. Cover my glue. There we go. And so now I have my supported edges and my supported spine. And I can still get a needle through the two. You just have to push a little harder. And I use an awl, or I use a really thick needle to sew with, so it'll be fine. All right, so this is the inside, this is the outside, and since this fabric is not directional, I'm not worried about it. If you had, say this was fabric, if you had this, you would want to, like if I wanted this for my front cover, which I did think about, if I wanted that for my front cover, I'd have to make sure it's right side up and that it's going on the front cover, that this is the way my journal is going to open. But I really want to use what I printed out, so I am going to make sure this folds first. I didn't fold it since I put that supported center in. There we go. All right, so the first thing I am going to do is I'm going to, oh, where's my piece I cut already? Yeah, there's only so much space on this desk. I am going to lay my fabric down. Now, if this had a right side and a wrong side, right side would be down. In other words, this would be the back side, the side that will eventually connect to the file folder. Okay? So what you're doing when you put this down, this is the rough textured glue side. This is the paper side. So, wrong side of fabric, wrong side of the glue. And I am going to, because this paper is a little bit larger, I'm going to line it up on the edges the best I can. I don't want any overlap, really. Even though there's, something's not straight either. It's my fabric or the way I cut this paper. More than likely the way I cut my paper. Okay, so there is overlap here. I'm going to try to avoid ironing this to my ironing pad here. All right, and because my iron and everything is turned around, I have to reach across. Now, dry iron, no steam. Hot iron between cotton and linen is good. Those are usually the hottest settings. And I don't know if you can see, but this looks bubbly, like it's not attached to the fabric. So it's not laying flat. And this on this side is now laying flat because it's now attached to the fabric. And you do want to make sure you get your edges. And you want to take your time and make sure it all adheres down. It's really important to get it right to the edge and make sure your edges are all getting adhered to the fabric. And the directions do tell you how to do this. Now the reason this is take 4, I think it is because I just tried to do this and I was talking along and I looked up to see if something was in frame and realized my iPad was, the camera had turned off, and it told me all my storage was full because I had one other video that I thought I had. Now see, it's sticking to my ironing pad. Yeah. So now I have glue on my ironing pad, which picks off, but it's a lot easier if you have the Teflon covered one, like on my big ironing board, because then it doesn't stick. You just pick it up. Okay, so I need to cut here. Now, normally you would cut your paper to the same size as your fabric. I just didn't do that ahead of time. I had that piece cut out, but it wasn't, it was not to the right size for this piece of fabric. It was for something else, and that didn't work out. So anyway, the reason this is take 4, yesterday I did a video and it was absolutely, my camera angle was totally not right, and my face got in there and I was like, oh no, we can't have that. No, 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 no. So I deleted that video, and yeah, was not happy with it. So you want this to cool just enough so you can easily touch it. And then you want to start peeling it off, which is not always the easiest thing. But if you can separate the fabric from the backing, and you will know if it is not adhered correctly, it will not come off easily. Like this corner is really, like, I can't pull that off. It's not adhered correctly. I will admit that I sometimes have trouble with this product. And I don't think it's the product. I think it's operator error, which means it's me. Well, it's definitely, you can tell they're stuck together, right? Like I can't get it off, but it's also not coming off correctly. And that's because, you know, I'm doing a video, so why should it work correctly? All right, so I'm going to try to re-iron it and see if I can get it to come off better. I don't know if this happens because the glue has not totally melted to the fabric, or I don't know why. I've used this stuff before for quilting and stuff like that, like when you do piecing when you're quilting. So I never had this problem though, like this. Only recently, only in the last couple weeks, have I actually started having a problem Come on. Oh, there might be a take 5 to this video. And the dog is snoring. Oh, please. Please come off. When it comes off all in one piece, it's really cool. When it comes off like it's supposed to, it's really cool. Oh my gosh, can you hear that dog snoring? And she's a little 8-pound dog. Okay, here we go. See, now this is how it's supposed to rip off. It is supposed to rip off like that. So I think I just didn't have the iron on it long enough. So if you run into that trouble, that's what it is. And what I try to do is very carefully not have this paper ripped, because if it does, it's really a pain to get it to all come off if it's in little pieces. Oh, and there, see it ripped? So I'm just going to keep going. Okay. Now you could keep that paper and use it for, it's really nice and crinkly for other stuff because there's no glue left on it now. But I don't. I know. People are probably going, oh, horrors! She's not holding on to that nice crinkly paper. It's very staticky too. Now my fabric is staticky. And see, there's a little tiny hair stuck here. And that's going to show through the fabric, I think. And you have to make sure you don't have any threads. That does not show through the fabric, so I'm going to leave it. But you have to make sure you don't have any threads or anything. I should have said that before I started. So, outside of my cover, I am going to iron this down. So now this side, so this is my fabric side that I did not iron onto. And I don't know if you can see the shininess, but that is the side that now has glue on it, okay? And that side was the side that was on the paper side. So glue side down. Whatever you do, don't iron it with glue side up because you won't be happy. So I am centering this on my file folder. And again, I want this little bit of this edge that's just a tad bit frayed to hang over the edges of this journal cover. Okay. And I think I'm happy with that. And I'm going to do the same process. So fabric side up. This is the outside of the journal cover. Glue side of the fabric is going down. Smooth it all out. And I start in the middle. I start in the center. I work up and down. I don't want the fabric to pull one way or the other. I don't know what that is. And you want to very carefully spend some time in each area of this, especially get the edges. Now I have my frayed edges hanging over the edge of the file folder, so I'm trying really hard. And see, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to lift this up. Now I have not ironed this corner yet, but you see how it bubbles? If you were to jump over here with your iron, you would totally get a bubble in there and not be able to fix it. See that? So that's why I work from the center towards each corner. but I'm trying not to iron my frayed edges down to my ironing board because, you know, it's not where I want it. Okay, and again, see, this is not glued down yet here, but you can tell where it is glued down because I've already ironed there. Okay. Just be patient. You just have to take your time. And be patient. If you're patient, you have a really good result. It's totally worth it in my opinion. Okay. And since we're not peeling this off, we want to make sure it's absolutely 100% adhered. There. So now this is 100% adhered. See, I could do a little more on that edge right there. I was trying to stay from getting too close to the edges, but you do want the edges done. Now, if you wanted to, if this was, say, a regular piece of fabric, like this, if this was this piece of fabric, okay, and say I had ironed this on, what I would normally do, if I wasn't using this frayed muslin here, I would fold this in. I would cut across the corners. I would fold the corner down. I would fold this corner down. And I would put these edges in on this fabric, like this. And that would then be covered on the inside by paper or another piece of fabric, whatever you decided to put on the inside. See, it would be like that. And that's sort of how they do real books. So if I had a different piece of fabric, a larger piece, I would make it larger than this, fold these edges in, and really you could still do that. There's a little bit of edge and it has glue on it. I could still do that, and I may still do that. I haven't decided yet. So this fabric is all down. Ooh, don't touch the hot iron. There's a few edges I sort of stayed away from, didn't get quite close enough, so I want to get those done without losing that glue, because if I do decide to fold those to the inside, which I don't think I'm going to do, but if I decide to, then I want that glue to be on there. You could always use Fabri-Tac, or even your art glitter glue, I think, should hold it. Sometimes art glitter glue holds fabric for me, sometimes it does not. I don't know what the difference is or what it depends on. I haven't figured that out yet. I have used it on lace, but I couldn't tell you why it does or doesn't. Okay, so now I can fold my cover and get that fold in there. Now, I have to decide if I'm going to just put this on like this. The other thing I could do is fussy cut around all these, but I don't think I'm going to. I do, however, have to peel off. Because this has freezer paper on the back, I'm going to peel it apart. And there is no sticky. When you iron it to freezer paper, there's no sticky residue left behind. And you can reuse this a couple of times. So I can there's hairs. I can reuse this. I could iron another piece of muslin on here and send it back through my printer. Except I did fold this one because I was measuring. So I don't know if it'd work as well. But so what I did was I downloaded some graphics from Graphics Fairy. I put them in PowerPoint. I squished them together because I thought they should be more spread out, but when I did a print preview, they were off the page. So I printed them out, and I think I'm trying to decide what I want to do. I think I'm going to raggedy up these edges a little bit. Might lose some of the image, but that's okay. Oops. There. I just want it to look a little more raggedy than it looks. This side and the bottom needed to be a little bit smaller anyway, so there. Okay, yeah, I like that better. And then, you know, I could put some other things behind here. I could put some lace, which I was considering. Fray the edges a little more. I don't know. I may actually sew some lace around here before I adhere this. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I will cut a piece of the iron-on. I will cut it so it's the same size as this fabric here. I would cut that out, right? And iron it on the back side of this fabric. And then when I peel that backing off, I can iron it onto here. But I think what I'm going to do is I am going to find something pretty to put around the edges. I don't know if it'll be this. I could just put that on the edge regardless. And then put that over the top, or put that over the top. I don't know. What am I gonna do? What do you guys think? I like this too. I got this off of I found some like placemats or table mats or something. I like that. That's really pretty. Now, I wouldn't use the iron-on backing on something lacy like this because that glue would come right through this lace and then I'd be in all kinds of trouble. If I did that. I don't know if that blends in with the muslin too much though, does it? What do you guys think? I wish I could hear you. Are you out there? Hello? Can you hear me? If I say that too loud, my dogs think I'm talking to someone and then they start barking because they think someone's here. So, I have to learn to manage myself so my dogs don't go nuts. What am I going to do? Maybe something smaller? Maybe like that. I kind of like that too. Well, now I'm confused. Now I'm really confused. I don't like it going that direction. I like it going that direction. Yeah. So I'm going to play with that. I'm not going to iron this on yet, but literally that's what I would do, is cut a piece of this. Once I've decided if I'm sewing anything on here, I would cut a piece of this and iron it to the back of this, bubbly side down, and then I would peel that paper off, and then I would place this where I want it and iron it down, which I may still do before this ends. So now I think I am going to put this. This has writing on it, but I'm trying to decide if there's actually a right side up and an upside down or not. Because I'd really like that in the front. But I think then the writing is upside down. I think I'm going to put that in the front. Okay. So we're going to do this process again. So I can take this paper and I can literally just cut this out. What I usually do is I measure it, not with a ruler. I'm just going to take this, I'm going to fold it to the edge, get an approximate measurement, and find that fold again. Make sure my ends are squared up. So this edge, this bottom edge and this top edge, I want them to meet the edge they're folded against, if that makes sense. So these two edges meet. And that's how I normally get it semi-straight. My biggest problem is cutting a straight line. Whether I have one to follow or a fold to follow, usually just means nothing to me when I'm using scissors. I can't seem to cut or draw or sew a straight line no matter what. Okay, close enough. Definitely don't want that touching my iron. And again, now we have to get it. And you can use this on paper. You can glue the paper down if you want. On my last one, I glued the paper down, but I'm just going to sort of try and show you how it works. And the Fusible web says right on the box it's for crafting. So with my other journal, what I did was I took paper. I decided which way it was going to go on the inside of the journal. Right? So this is going to open this way. And what I did was I glued up here and I put this edge down. And then I just lifted this up and I just glued a little at a time and I pressed it down. I used my bone folder. Not that. I used my bone folder and I just gently smoothed out the glue. But I'm going to use the Fusible web on this. So now, as you can see, I have not rounded off the corners. So we are going to be careful not to glue it down to my ironing pad. Again, I'm going to start in the middle. So if you had a very, I don't know about tracing paper, a transparent type of paper. I have not tried that yet with this Fusible web. Oh, shoot. It's not on straight. So I'm going to have to use a little regular glue on that edge. I thought I had it on straight. Yeah, so I don't know. Hot. It's hot. It's very hot. Have I said it's hot? This is hot. Don't touch it right after you iron it. It's hot. And that is glue on the other side. So you don't want to get glue stuck to your finger. Hot glue. If you've ever worked with a hot glue gun, you know what that feels like. It's not very joyous. But this is how you avoid getting glue seeping through your fabric. Not that this is fabric. This piece is paper, of course. And you can sew through this because this is made for quilting. So, yeah, that's hot. So what you could do, you wait for it all to cool off and dry and all that. And then you can sew through it. And it doesn't, I've not had it gum up my needles. So there's that. This might be a little hot still. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's ready to come off. Cool off. Oh, looks like it's getting cloudy out. We're supposed to get rain tomorrow. That's no fun. Okay, so here we go. Uh-oh. I'm going to do that center right there. I don't think it stuck well enough. I don't think it melted. And basically, that's what you're doing. You're melting the glue down. Well, that went nicely. Look at that. One whole piece of paper. Proud of myself. Okay. Oof. Static, static, static. So again, if this is my front cover, let me make that my back cover. This little line, this is in the muslin. Some of these marks are in the muslin. That's just, muslin is a weird fabric. It comes with weird stuff on it. So this is the inside front cover. And in order for the print to be right side up, this cover has to go on this way. Now this I'm going to try very carefully to line up the right way. And I had this measured for the outside cover, so there's a tad, just a titch of overhang on it, on both edges. That is not lining up. I want the entire file folder covered, so I'm trying to make very sure that's what I've got. And I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm going to put a little more pressure because this paper is pretty heavy. And I'm ironing the glue side down. This is not a cardstock paper, but it's not a lightweight paper either. It's out of a paper pack, but it's not a heavy cardstock. I kind of like the weight of this paper. It's definitely going to give this cover some substantial feel to it. So you see how all of the extra things that we put on the inside of the cover to support the spine and the edges, you can't see them now. Even though they're a different layer, they don't stick up when you do this. And I've done this with fabric on the inside on, oh, where'd I put it? This is the cover I made yesterday for the failed video. And I put fabric on the inside and you really can't see. I mean, these are creases in the fabric. I tried to iron it out before I did that, but that's not from the extra of the cover. And if your signatures are going here, I have 3 signatures in this one, so it's a really wide spine, and you're not going to see that even through the fabric. So there's the inside and there's the outside. And really, I could make this the outside, and I could make that the inside and just put these things, where'd I put them? Just put these things on the inside. Okay. Get rid of the threads. Get rid of the extras. And you know, I might do that too. I haven't decided yet. So if I was going to do the paper on the outside, I would very carefully, because that support piece is in there, you really have to work it. And this is still warm. So if I wanted my paper on the outside, that's what it would look like. And then have the fabric on the inside, which I really like. So I may do that too. I don't know. But if this was on the outside, maybe with some lace and stuff around it, that's what it would look like. And then that's the inside. So I'm going to work on this a little bit. I don't know what it's going to come out like. My next video, I will show the finished cover, and I will then show you how I sew the signature in. So thanks for watching. I hope this helped. I hope it gave you some ideas. Again, it's Pellon Fusible Web. This one is the heavy duty. You probably don't need the heavy duty. I don't know why I picked it up. I guess it's the only one I found. And so I bought it, and I can't even tell you where I bought it. I have no clue. There's no price sticker on it. Probably Joann's. But I have looked for this in Joann's the last few times I've gone, and I haven't been able to find it. I've looked in Hobby Lobby. I can't find it there either, but I could be looking in the wrong place. I don't know. So I hope this helps. I hope mostly that it encourages you to try it. You don't have to fuss with any glue bleeding through your fabric. It really holds tight. If there's a few spots you're unsure of, you can use your regular glue or your Fabri-Tac and use that to secure it down a little bit. And that won't, I have found that if I just use a very light bit of the art glitter glue, it doesn't bleed through. Because you can use very little of that and it sticks like crazy. So like I said, I haven't decided if this will be my outside cover or this will be my outside cover with this on it, but I'll figure that out and I will show that in my next video. So come on back. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I'd appreciate it. I'm trying to build my subscribers. If you didn't like it, tell me what you didn't like about it. That's okay too. Please leave comments. It does mean a lot to me when you leave a comment. Good, bad, or ugly. You know, it helps. Helps me improve if you tell me what I didn't do right. So I appreciate it. And you guys take care and happy crafting and have yourself a great day. And I will talk to you soon. I'll be back with this cover when I figure out how I want to decorate it. Thanks. Bye-bye.